We're at that point in the year where the big harvests are underway, and yet some beds are beginning to look a little bit bare, and it's easy to think there's not much to sow now. Wrong, because today I'm going to show you 5 crops that grow best when started right now. They're fast growing, incredibly rewarding, and will keep you in pickings well into autumn and beyond. Let's get sowing. And we are kicking things off with an absolute gem of the late summer garden, bok choy or pak choy. Now, if you've grown this before, you will know why it is such a star. And if you haven't, well, you are in for a treat. Pak choy is one of those rare crops that is both delicious to eat and looks really fab in the garden as well. It's got these beautiful plumptious stems and almost glossy green leaves, and stir-fried in a hot wok with a splash of soy sauce and lots of garlic. Oh, absolute winner. Now here is the thing, bok choy or pak choy is a cool season crop, which means it absolutely relishes being sown at the slightly cooler end of the growing season and then growing into those cooler days of autumn. If you sow it in the real heat of summer, it has a tendency to bolt, which just means it flowers before it's produced those luscious heads. But sow it now and it'll get away, no problem at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to sow 2 seeds into each plug, and then if both of them come up, I can just remove the weakest one and let the strongest one grow on. Now, starting things off in plugs like this not only saves a bit of space in the ground if other things are in there, it also means that pak choy are kept well away from slugs in the ground, which is their absolute nemesis. Slugs have really good taste and love pak choy probably even more than we do. Now here's a few tip-top varieties. They are all award winners, whether that's a Royal Horticultural Society Award of Garden Merit or an All-America Selections winner. So if you're looking for something to grow and not sure what, it's worth just trying one of those. Now it won't take long for the seedlings to fill their plugs, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, and by that I mean seeing the first roots at the bottom. And once they are at that stage, I will plant them out into their final positions. And they will go about, roughly 8 inches or 20 centimetres apart in both directions. Now once they're in the ground, I'll need to keep them well watered because they do get stressed quite easily, and of course protected from slugs. And then when it comes to harvest, I can take 1 or 2 leaves from each plant or just let them grow on to produce those lovely crisp heads. Next up, arugula or rocket, and if there's one crop that sums up a quick win, it's this stuff, appropriately named I'd say. Honestly, rocket or arugula is one of the fastest salads you can grow, often ready to pick within 4 to 6 weeks of sowing. It's got a lovely, peppery, slightly nutty kind of tang to it, which makes it great for piling onto pizza, tossing into pasta, or simply enjoying it on its own, fresh from the garden. There's no bad way to enjoy it. This peppery salad is in the brassica family, the same family as cabbages, broccoli, but also mustard, which helps to explain its spiciness. You see, that spiciness is a natural protection against pests and comes about because of natural sulfur compounds. And that spicy tang only intensifies with cooling temperatures, which means the arugula you pick in autumn is going to taste even better than that you pick in summer. Now, arugula or rocket is incredibly obliging as to where you sow it. You can sow it directly into the ground, or as I'm doing here, this rather special raised bed that I made this spring. It's a follow-on crop I'm sowing, in fact, and I'll link to a video on how to make this in the description below. And so to sow, I'm just taking a little pinch like this and scattering it along the row there. And then once the seedlings come up, I'll thin them out to around 4 inches or 10 centimetres apart. Alternatively, by the way, you could just scatter sow the seeds over a kind of pot, for example, or a window box, something like that. Anything really that holds soil or potting mix. It's still a bit warm here, so somewhere like this in dappled shade is absolutely ideal for arugula or rocket. Now, you could sow a couple of rows every few weeks to keep the harvests coming, and the simple cultivation requirements are to keep things well watered so they don't dry out, and to pick regularly. And if they should flower, which they're unlikely to do in the second half of summer, then just pick them out and re-sow, and those flowers are actually edible and make a beautiful garnish too. If you've grown tough, bitter turnips in the past that have put you off them, well, now is the time to try again, because turnips sown now to grow into the tail end of the season are a revelation. They grow fast and are irresistibly sweet and tender, making them perfect for not only cooking, but slicing thinly and enjoying in salads. Who'd have thought it? Turnips are a direct sow crop, which just means they're started off in the ground where they will eventually grow. They don't like being transplanted. So I'm going to sow them into thin rows, and I'm going to space the rows about a foot or 30 centimetres apart like this. These are sown much like any other in-ground crop, so a thin pinch of seeds and then drop them as thinly as you can along the row. Now I see turnips pretty much as the sister of radishes. They like the same kind of conditions, so I'll need to keep these well watered and as cool as I can if we do get another warm spell, by watering regularly or lightly shading. Then once they're up, I will thin them out in stages until the seedlings are 6 inches or 15 centimetres apart, or I could go a little bit closer than that for baby turnips, which are yum. The really fab part is that these will be ready to enjoy within 6 to 8 weeks, well before the end of the season. Now, as well as enjoying them in salads, you could also try them cut up into chunks and roasted with lots of thyme and maybe some garlic, or just simply steamed and buttered. Either way, outstanding. You can also enjoy a few of the young turnip leaves as an early crop. Just take 1 or 2 leaves from each plant while they're still quite young. They're very nutritious and quite delicious too, but don't take too many because you want obviously those roots to swell. Moving on, and our next crop needs a little bit of urgency behind it. We're going to be sowing Chinese cabbage, also known as Napa cabbage or wombok. Now this really does appreciate being sown in the warmth of the tail end of our late summer sowing window, and then it can fully commit to producing those lovely succulent heads. If you've ever made your own kimchi, or indeed just eaten it, you will know how magnificent Napa or Chinese cabbage can be. It also forms the basis to some extraordinary Asian slaws, making this soft, mild but slightly peppery, succulent leaf just an absolute joy and so versatile in the kitchen. Now this really popular Asian leaf can be prone to bolting if it's disturbed, so what I'm going to do is sow them into these plug trays here, just full of all-purpose potting mix, and then I'll transplant them really carefully, trying not to disturb the roots, so they go into their final positions like that. And just like before with our pak choy, I'm sowing 2 seeds per plug, and I will thin out to leave the strongest once they are up, and these will be grown in a kind of sheltered, bright position. Starting these off in plug trays will again just avoid any nibblings by pesky slugs, and then once they've grown on like 2, well probably up to 4 weeks or so, and they're maybe 1 inch high, they can be planted into their final positions, and they'll go so that they are between about 12 to 14 inches or 30 to 35 centimetres apart both ways. Now these form lovely, upright, crisp and juicy heads, which means they will need plenty of water. Like all brassicas, Napa or Chinese cabbage is of course a favourite of lots of butterflies and moths, which lay eggs which then grow into caterpillars, those annoying cabbage worms. So I would definitely net against these butterflies so they can't get at it at the first place. And if it's still quite warm at the time of planting, then maybe pick somewhere with dappled shade, which will reduce the chance of them bolting. And when you look at a young Chinese cabbage, it looks very much like a romaine lettuce, which hints at how juicy and succulent those leaves are. Harvest the lovely dense crisp heads whole, or harvest them cut and come again style, taking a few outer leaves at a time and then letting it grow on. Either way, this is a true winner in the late summer and autumn garden. How about a herb that polarises opinion like no other? I'm talking about cilantro, or as I know it, coriander. Now you either love this herb with a deep and abiding passion, or you loathe it because of a genetic quirk that makes it taste a bit like soap, or at least not very pleasant. If you're in the first camp, well, this next section is for you. If you're in the second, well, I won't take it personally. For cilantro fans, late summer is the very best time to sow them because, get this, they absolutely despise the heat, a bit like me. If you sow them in the middle of summer, well, within a matter of weeks it seems, they almost immediately go up to bolt, like these guys here. But then as temperatures cool off, cilantro or coriander gets into its stride and produces all of those wonderful aromatic leaves that we are after, and they're perfect in curries and the 3 S's, salsas, salads and soups. The thing that really blows my mind is that cilantro or coriander is one of the most ancient and long cultivated herbs in the world. It's been found in ancient Egyptian tombs and mentioned in Sanskrit texts that are over 3,000 years old. People have been falling in love with this leafy marvel for millennia. This herb has a bit of a taproot, so it's best sown directly where it's to grow, just because that is a bit delicate, but the seeds are nice and chunky and very easy to sow. Now I'm doing what's called broadcast sowing, which is just scattering them thinly over the surface like this of my potting mix. You could also sow them into the ground, of course, into shallow drills about 1/2 centimetre or a 1/4 inch deep, and then sow them thinly along the rows. But I like this scattering technique because you get a sort of forest, a carpet if you will, of lovely leaves. I'm going to be keeping this pot, for now at least, in a dappled shady position like it is now, where it's nice and cool to help it germinate. And then once the seedlings come up, I'll remove some of them to lead them very roughly anywhere between kind of 3 to 6 inches apart, which is, 7 to 15 centimetres. Like so much of what we've sown today, it's important to keep things well watered. And look, if plants do bolt or flower, the flowers are really pretty and can help pretty up dishes, or you can let them produce seeds. Cilantro is the leaf, and the seeds themselves are coriander seeds, of course, which have a lovely, earthy, citrusy, warm flavour, entirely different to the leaves. You're getting kind of 2 crops from the same plant, which can't be bad, can it? Late summer really is a season of second chances, and every one of what we've sown today will give us something tasty to pick within a matter of weeks. And you'll also find all that we've sown today in our garden planner. Just select your crop, drop it into your plan where you want it, and expand it out into the bed space that you have, and it automatically calculates how many plants will fit into the space that you have. It's very clever stuff, and you can try it for free, no payment details needed, by just following the QR code or the link over here. And I, my green fingered and thumbed friends, will catch you next time.